let me start asking you some questions so that I know that from where to start, right? So if you guys are comfortable, let's okay. So do we know any specific operating systems, OSs, right? Do you know the operating systems which you guys are comfortable with? So you can actually send me a chat message so that I can see and continue. If you are not okay with the OS, operating systems, which operating systems you are comfortable with or you are working already? Okay. Okay, some sent Ubuntu, CentOS, and somebody sent Windows, Linux, right? Overall. If I'm not hearing from you guys, I'll be like, right. Okay. Okay. So if you guys are comfortable with operating systems, okay, good. Let me start with some the very basic stuff, right? I'll even share certain videos what if I'm making it, right? So let me go with this. Okay. So this, maybe you all know this. Let's say this is, for example, let's say this is a server, right? So I'm talking about a physical server, right? On which you guys will install whatever that operating system you want to use, right? That one OS you will be installing it, or somebody will install and you will be installing your applications, right? And running that applications, right? And I believe predominantly you know that so if you know something like this, server is the high-end computer, right, which have a lot of capacity in terms of your CPU, for example, right? Let's say you have a physical server, which I am saying a high-end computer. In terms of high-end, matlab, it can run more workloads, right? More workloads like Oracle database or any SaaS applications or any bigger applications, right? When you want to run them, then you should be having that server as a hardware, right? So nowadays maybe you don't find this environment if you are working in a latest things, right? You might not find this environment as same as it is. You might be using your server like this, the server and application, right? You might be using from the cloud. This may be sitting somewhere where you may not have straightforward access to it, but from your desktop you will be connecting to that, right, and using it. So that depends on where you are actually working, which company, what is your roles and responsibilities, all this, right? So but end of the day we need to understand there will be a server, a physical machine, right? And in that server you have your operating system installed, on top of which your application is installed, right? When we say this is cloud, do you know when you say this is cloud? When you have only a network type of connection to that machines and you don't know from where the machines are coming up, or where your operating system or where your application is running, if you have no clue about it, but still you are able to connect to that through browser or other means, right? Then we can consider that is in cloud. The best example for cloud, and we are using it from so many years, right? From early 2000, any mail services if you are using, right? Any mail like Gmail, Yahoo Mail, or any Gmail's other Google services, for example, any disk drive or any of that sort, right? Google Drive, right? All this, whatever we are getting as a package from the Google, all the services we are getting from cloud. Though we know it or we treat that as cloud or not, but all these services, end of the day, all Google services, whatever we are getting, are of that sort, which is of cloud based. So where we don't know where that is running, but we are getting the services done, right? Thumbs up if you are able to understand and you are learning something. Okay, right, okay, done, right? So okay, let me add a few more points to that. So Google services or any cloud services, AWS or any cloud services, are coming to us as different names, basically. Service, right? What is that we can say? Application as a service, right? Or OS as a service, operating system as a service, or the physical machine, let's say server hardware as a service, right? Or mix and match of all this. Or even we have storage services, backup services, right? So Google Drive, you can consider that as a storage service, right? So lot of things today coming to us through network, where you just need to have a network, then that all the services by default you can consider them as a cloud services. Okay, so in the cloud, basically let me break that into two parts. If we are really looking at the cloud service as a service, there are two parts in the cloud service. One is service provider, who is providing the service. So he will have here so many servers in his environment, like server 1, 2 and so on, and he will be giving that as your service. He will be having it. So he will be maintaining all this, servers, operating systems, applications, everything. And there is somebody called customer. Let me just remove this part, right? So there is somebody called here a customer, right? The customer who pays the money and really doesn't worry about how it is maintained, what is the things and all. He is really not worried about that, right? So he will be having a network, and right. So from the cloud service provider and to us, to the customer, just there is a network. So here I am talking about two parts in the for the company who is providing that services. I'm not talking about customer just whatever he wants, he choose that, he will pay that amount and he will be getting the services. But from the a company perspective, right, this company is providing the services, they have the hardware, so many people needed to maintain the hardware, right, all that they will be needing it, and plus the applications, the operating systems, licensing, everything will be maintained by a cloud provider, right. So coming back to here one thing is the infrastructure, what I am talking about, infra, right. For the cloud provider, the major thing is he will be maintaining the infra, and plus the application interface, let me use this, he will maintain the application interface. If you see, right, the Google Cloud environment, if you happen to use it or have seen that Google Cloud or AWS or anything, right, they have their front end where you will be seeing that interface where you choose what you want, right, and you will be paying that the money, all that, right. So it's something like if you are at least happen to jump into AWS, right. So the interface, what I am talking about, the interface, the options, the functionalities, whatever they are providing, right, that is the application which they actually use it for selling to the customer, right. So the billing, everything will be happening from this level, the application level. So if you got it, two scenarios or two things to think about. Any questions here or any clarifications here? The cloud provider will maintain all the infrastructure required, and they have their own developed application. Or even some providers are there where they rent this, means they will get it from somebody else, the infra they will be getting it from somebody else, and they have their own beautiful application, right, and they will be providing the services to customer. Are we getting it? These applications are their own, that cloud applications, but cloud infra is taken from somebody else, right. We are getting it, if we are getting it, right. So you guys have any idea about virtualization technologies, or any time heard about it, or any exposure to that? Yes, no, if you know, can you ping me what is that or how much you know about it? Somehow I am not able to hear you guys. Somehow, maybe I just missed some setting somewhere. Hello. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So let me give a little brief about it. Why it is not moving up? So the fundamental thing, right? If we okay, so the sorry, some I may need to change some settings somewhere. Maybe I'll figure it out why I'm not able to hear you guys, because I for video purpose I connected that my mobile that is actually fixed. Right, so maybe I need to remove that and check, right? So the audio, why it is missing, sorry for that, right? It's okay. uh, let me tell you, in any enterprise environment, right, wherever we are, whatever the work we are doing, end of the day, that whole work is somehow related or dependent with server. Okay, so this is the first and foremost point we should be very much aware of. Let's say I'm a Java developer, let's say, but I'll be using that server name for my services, whatever I am developing, or internal communication between different services, different applications, right? Sorry for that. I'll be using server as a name, but for that is a software servers, right? So end of the day, server is, for us at least, we refer server as a hardware machine. That's where we put a draw, right? I draw something like this box, right? This is referring to a physical computer server, where this guy service or services lot of clients. So if I put a simple picture, if this is a network, right, and end of the day, this is your server, as we already talked about, and there will be so many client machines like this, hundreds, thousands or lakhs of client machines will be getting serviced by the servers. So I showed you one server here. Here also there will be so many servers. For example, in the case of Google, if we talk about and see, when we are using Google or YouTube, right, there will be thousands to lakhs of servers will be there, which are servicing our requests. When you are watching a YouTube movie, like that, there will be lakhs of people watching a YouTube video or something, right? So all that is actually running from our, or from the Google servers or YouTube servers, like that, right? Server is a high-end computer, right? So that guy will be having 4 major resources, if we talk about, right, that 4 major resources which are important, we should remember that, which is CPU, RAM, network and storage. Right, or you can put that, right, network and storage. These are the 4 major components. We will be discussing about it, and from that completes our basic understanding about servers basically. From there we'll start learning different technologies, different applications, different stuff, right? But majorly the focus should be in and around the server. Once we get the clear understanding about the server, then we can actually evolve into different level. Okay, then if you are getting it, so okay, the very basic things, maybe you know that CPU will be measured in gigahertz or megahertz, right? Gigahertz. And RAM is measured as or in GBs, 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 and so on. Storage is also measured in GBs and terabytes, right? Network is measured in bandwidth, basically. The bandwidth also some GB or MBs per second, right? Bandwidth, right? Right. Yes, no. And I think I don't need to tell you that, because you both are coming from working background, but still, because I always consider anybody who joined us, right? So I consider let's say they don't know anything, because so that I don't want to miss any points, right? So that is where I'll try to put everything from very basic level. So today computers, right, everything is digital. So the digital in sense for us, right, anything whatever we store in the computer, or write in the computer, or through network something we are transferring between two machines, right, everything happens in zeros or ones in series of that. So you can call that as digits, right? Digital basically, right? Digital communication uses this 0 or 1, series of zeros and ones, right? So a bit refers to, actually small b is auto getting corrected, a bit is refers to either 0 or 1. That's where the digital communication, everything, right? Okay. So when we say byte is the series of 8 zeros and 1 combination, a byte, it can be something like this or any combinations of this, something like, right, any combination of zeros and ones, which the number of digits is, if it is 8, we call that as a byte, right, technically, right? And another word we come across sometimes, or most of the times, depends on the environment where you are working, something called block. So block of data, right? Okay, if we are talking about a block of data, anything technically bigger than byte, technically, right, you can consider that as a block, right? But blocks definitely 1 KB, 1 kilobyte, right, or 4 KB, right, up to even today some systems support 1 MB block size, or even 2 MB, 4 MB, even GB, different. So I don't know, maybe today maybe something came in new, maybe it supports 2 GB, I don't know. Just understand that block size is not specifically defined, but in different environments there will be something called default size. But understand, technically anything is bigger than a byte is a block, right? So now let me give you a simple example. Now you are actually connected through Zoom, right? That is actually using what? Network, right? Yes. So if it is using network, now we people actually connected, right, through the network. Whether we are watching video, or you are watching video, or you are listening to the audio, or whatever you are doing, right, we are doing here now, right now in sense, is actually happening through the network. So there is in between us a network. So technically what is network? Network is basically a connection between multiple machines, which is providing us the way of communication, right? I'm just leaving our human part there, just our machines are connected, so that our machines are able to transfer some data between these machines. Now here that Zoom app or Zoom application, right, across our machines is working or helping us through the network. It is passing video and audio as the blocks of data, or zeros and ones, right? The series of blocks of data is transferring between our machines now. That part is clear, right? So that is where we are just touching upon of the network, which is of TCP/IP network, if you are already aware of it. Right? Everything is day to day, whatever we are actually doing it. Right? It is touching upon TCP/IP network. Though we know anything about network, not knowing anything about, network, still this is what happening between our machines through this network, right? So anything which is going through network, right, at least in our current network, if it is, I'm just considering TCP/IP network, there can be in some places end-to-end fiber channel networks. That's also can be possible. Just now let me consider only TCP/IP network. So that data, whatever we are talking about, that can be any size data, is actually going through or going as packets, the small packets. So we call that a TCP/IP packet, or you can call that as a network packet, right? That means from my machine, when I am passing this audio and video, that is going through the network as this network packets. So you are actually able to hear my words in the same order, you are able to see me in the same order or in a different order, same order, right? That means this TCP/IP network, as a network, it has the inbuilt capability of sending the data in the same sequence, right? And for example, due to a low latency or a slowness in the network, still it automatically resends the data. So that is where sometimes maybe in my actions you might see certain lag, if you have seen that, right? So directly, indirectly, we are actually touching upon multiple areas, right? So that you will get a bigger picture. So the TCP/IP as a protocol is facilitating every communication today, whatever we are doing, right? So that TCP/IP, the data is transferred between machines as packets, and every packet will have the packet ID numbers you can consider, right? So that will be helpful in streaming the data between machines, sending the data between machines in the same order what we sent. So that is where it is. TCP/IP has that inbuilt mechanism of finding the shortest route between your machine and my machine, and it sends that data through the network as packets in the order, same order. If any packet misses reaching you, it will be resent. And at your machine level, there will be something called buffer also will be sitting at your machine level. Here there will be a network buffer, right? So that will be receiving from the network certain amount of packets, so that you will be able to see that video and audio, hear the audio, right, in a better way. So here, directly, indirectly, I am talking about, end of the day, the customer is the one who is using our machines, right? If I am talking about, if I am acting like a role, I am the company owner, right? I am serving the customers, for example. The customer experience is the most important for me, right? End of the day. So for that, in the computers, even though that same thing, for that same thing, there will be a lot of implementations. One of the implementation I am just referred is buffering. That buffering at our mission end will actually give you a better experience. So if you have any time observed, at least in watching any video, right, sometimes you can observe, not every time. For example, you are watching a YouTube video, for example, I'm saying, right, the moment you started that video, you might have seen, you might be playing here somewhere, but you might have seen something like I don't know what to actually refer. Let me try this way. Okay. So that this thing is filled something like this. Have you observed anybody? So that means you watched only, let's say, 2 minutes, but your buffer is actually buffered the data of, let's say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, if you have observed that this point. So that is where the buffering actually helps the user experience, better user experience. Simple. So end of the day, we need to understand, you and me, end of the day, we are going to work in a product based company. So the company will be developing certain product, and we are going to, we means our company is going to sell that product to the customer. So we need to focus on the customer experience, so that all these small things, may it looks like small thing, maybe it is not important, something like that, but still every point, please note it down, try to recollect, revise it. The expectation from you is every day whatever is completed should be drawing the same way whatever I draw already, right? You can take a screenshots wherever it is required. Right, I'm trying to record these things so that you can later play and check it. Let me try that, right? This is the first batch I'm trying that video recording also. So little here and there glitches will be there. Just please cooperate with that, right? So are we good here? Right, every points whatever we discussed understood, or you want me to repeat anything? Right, feel free to ask questions, right? And so that it becomes more interactive. But let me fix that audio problem. At least good that you are able to hear my voice, right? That is really good, right? Right, if nothing is there, I am done here today. And next class will be Monday, almost same time, right? We'll go into little details into this thing, and I'll see any relevant videos, I'll try to send it to you, including maybe this recorded one, right? Right, great, yes. You can definitely come back and ask me anything, any confusion if I created also sometimes, because I maybe move between topics. If any confusion comes up, we can definitely revisit that topics, right? Nice, good night. Yep, chill. Bye.